Blessed good morning and welcome to our devotions for today, Thursday. Trusting that you would have had a restful night and you are ready for the new day. As we move closer and closer to the end of yet another week, I invite you at this time to let us take a few moments to go into our sacred space and to just be with the divine, open ourselves up to God and seeking God's guidance and God's presence in our lives. And so we come to that place where we focus on our heart space. When we breathe into our heart space with a sense of love and gratitude. So oftentimes we forget to be thankful. And we allow moments to pass by without acknowledging the gift of life, which in and of itself generates so many other gifts, so many other blessings. So just be aware of this gift of life, precious, an opportunity to experience an opportunity to feel, to explore. Yet at the same time trying to not lose sight of who we are as spiritual beings. Remembering that. Remembering that this is a spiritual being having a physical experience. The opportunity to experience the other. To have a sense of that which is not the self. But yet still being mindful that there is only one. So we breathe into that oneness. And we are thankful. When the disciples reached the other side, they had forgotten to bring any bread. Jesus said to them, "Watch out and beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." They said to one another, "It is because we have brought no bread." And becoming aware of it, Jesus said, "You of little faith, why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not perceive? Do you not remember the 5 loaves for the 5,000 and how many baskets you gathered? Or the 7 loaves for the 4,000 and how many baskets you gathered? How could you fail to perceive that I was not speaking about bread? Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Then they understood that he had not told them to beware of the yeast of bread, but the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Have you ever wondered why certain things occur the way they do? Like, for example, it is a new day. Why was it necessary to have new days? Could we not just have had one ongoing experience? Why the need for the new day? What does it do? I wonder if it might have to do with the fact that we need constant reminders, because we forget. We forget past experiences. We forget past blessings. There is a sense in which we are encouraged not to hold on to the negative stuff of our lives or to bury it. But at the same time, it is not the item itself that is important, but it is what we might have learned from the experience. So the numerous experiences are there for us to learn more and more from. The new day signals a new beginning. It tells us to awaken. It tells us to look out to see what this day will bring. We so oftentimes lapse into forgetfulness. We lapse into a state that causes us not to be mindful of where we've been and how far we've come. We become complacent and we forget. Jesus, in the passage this morning, is reminding the disciples of the importance not to dwell on the teachings of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. But they interpret the term yeast in that context to mean that he was referring to the fact that they didn't bring any bread with them. And Jesus calls it because he says, how quickly you forget. You've forgotten what we did with the 5 loaves. You've forgotten that experience. You've forgotten what we did with the 7 loaves. You've forgotten that experience. Why would you think I'm talking about bread when you've had such experiences that indicate that we can do great wonders with so little? This is where we are at times as well. We forget. And this is why it is so important for us to be mindful to keep the grace flowing daily. This is why perhaps there are days of the week to remind us, to refresh our memories about the gift of life as the sun rises, about the importance of using the time we have wisely as the sun goes down on another day. Reminders of the continued activity of God. And so we have to ensure that we don't drift into a state of complacency. We don't drift into slumber and in that way prevent that grace from flowing because we're not consciously ensuring that it is being accessed by us and used by us. And by not being conscious, we lapse into a state where there is no real grace flowing through our lives. We must be conscious. We must be awakened. We must be intentional and deliberate in seeking this continued grace in our lives. We need at times to remind ourselves, just like Jesus reminded the disciples in this morning's reading. We've got to remind ourselves of what we have experienced in the past. And let that memory of the experience of the past fuel that sense of expectancy of what God is able to do in the now. The grace must be flowing. The grace must be received. The grace must be utilized. As we go into this Thursday, as we open ourselves to all that this day will bring, let us remember the source of all of this, the one who allows himself to flow into our lives and to enliven us moment by moment. It is this grace, this abundant grace which is here for us to lead us into greater and greater things. whether it be at home, in our personal lives, or at work. Be open to the grace. Be welcoming of the grace. And allow yourself to feel that grace flowing within you, bringing about that which you desire for yourself in this world. This is our task, not to forget what God continues to do with us moment by moment, but to allow that grace to flow. May you have a wonderful day.
To